Well, hello, Scrappers. Mike here. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to part 2 of the challenge. Gold Recovery Challenge. Silverstoll called me out a while back, and he challenged me to processing 238 grams of BGA RAM chips. And in the last video, I got a good start on working on my end of it, okay? Now, that video just came out the other day. And it's a lot of great comments and suggestions in that video. Keep those coming. Thank you, by the way. I really appreciate that. Any constructive criticism, feel free. Yeah. But some of the comments that came out rightly pointed out that since Silverstoll and I are not working from the same batch of BGA RAM chips, it's really not a fair test of our recovery and refining prowess, okay? It's really not going to tell us anything. And you're absolutely right. It's not. It's just for fun, okay? It's just for fun. It's just a chance to, interact with and work with another YouTuber, a little bit of collaboration going on, maybe a little bit of trash talking, maybe just a little bit. I'm not going to trash talk him too much. And, just have some fun, like a sporting event, okay? But you're right, it's not a level playing field. It's not even Steven, because we're not working from the same material. You're absolutely right. Okay. But still, it's a lot of fun. And his challenge got me off my butt and got me working on gold again after my long, tortuous excursion into tin. So I kind of appreciate that. Thank you, Silverstoll, because gold is where the money is, let's face it. So anyway, I'm processing chips for gold again, so I'm happy about that. Although there may be one more excursion into tin coming up. So anyway, without further ado, let's get started on part 2 of this challenge. Well, hello, Scrappers. Welcome back to my channel. Mike here, and we are picking up right where we left off in part 1 of this challenge. Silverstoll, who has his own channel on YouTube, has issued a challenge to see who can get the most gold out of 238 grams of BGA RAM chips. So back in part 1, I started my process, and when we left, I was dropping the gold out of the liquid from the first extraction from the RAM chips, and I decided to do a second extraction. So we've got the remains of the RAM chips in some aqua regia over here, and we're doing a second extraction. I just want to make sure I get all the gold out. I was kind of skeptical that all of the gold is in here. So we're going to do a second extraction and see what we get. So for now, welcome back to part 2. Thanks for stopping by and watching. But for now, what we're going to do is we're just going to let this stuff settle. Let the gold settle out of solution here. And then we're just going to let this stuff cook for now. And eventually, we will denox it and ice it, filter it, and drop gold out of it. And then we'll be able to figure out exactly how much gold I've got out of my 238 grams of RAM chips. But for now, there's not much to do but wait. Just got to wait for that to drop and wait for that to finish extracting. Alright, this stuff is starting to settle. It's taking its time, so it's very, very fine. Colloidal, probably gold, which I'm not surprised about. It took a long time to start coming out of solution, and it's very fine, taking a long time to settle. It's contaminated with some base metals. Certainly there was some copper in there. I imagine there's probably some tin in there also causing us some issues. This stuff over here, the reaction seems to be done. I've made up some proper stannous chloride solution. Last time I used solution from detinning IC chips, and yeah, that was a pretty weak solution, but I made up some proper stannous chloride. So we'll do another stannous chloride test on this stuff and see if we've got gold in solution again, and go from there. See what it looks like. So let me get set up for a test, and we'll see what we got. Alright, so let me get a little bit of this stuff on the spot plate. Yeah, it's a little weak looking, but I'll be surprised there's still some gold in there. Get you to where you can see the reaction over here. A little of this stuff. Well, it's weak, but it's there. So there's still some gold in there. So you know what? It almost looks like palladium reaction too. It's gone kind of orange on me there. So yeah, might have some PGMs in there along with the gold. So whatever gold we drop out of this stuff's probably going to be contaminated with PGMs. Not really a big problem since I always refine my gold at least 3 times before I melt it down into bullion and get it just as clean and pure as I can. So, well, all right, guys, it's the next morning. I've let this stuff sit overnight, and we got kind of a situation developing here. Well, first off, the gold has dropped out. We've got a nice layer of gold down at the bottom of that beaker. I hope that's showing up. What I'm going to do later is I'm going to siphon this liquid off, and we'll deal with that gold. But the situation that's developed is this stuff, I had a clear indication of gold, and maybe PGMs in this stuff with a Stannis test yesterday before I shut everything down. This morning, I come out and I redo the test. And it's probably not showing up good. This well right here. I got nothing. I got nothing. There is not the slightest trace of anything in there now. So what happened between last night and this morning? I have a theory, and I'm testing my theory. I've put a little bit more nitric acid in here, and I'm heating it up. And look, we're getting a reaction. We're getting bubbling. I mean, this has hardly even had a chance to warm up yet, and we're getting bubbling. So, my theory is there's something in there that the gold is cementing out on when I let this sit. Okay? So, didn't get, I don't know, we didn't get all of the base metals dissolved, and there's some base metal hanging out in there somehow, not dissolving in the aqua regia, that is causing the gold and whatever PGMs might be there to cement out when this stuff just sits. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat this up. Like I said, I put some more nitric in it. We're getting a heck of a reaction, even though it's still pretty cold. And we'll test it and see if the indication for gold comes back. If it does, which I'm thinking is probably gonna, because it was there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour the liquid off of the solids then, so that it can't cement back out on whatever's in there. And then we'll process the liquid. So that's what I'm planning on doing. We'll see how well it works. And I think this is just, I've had this problem before. It's been a few years. But I have seen this problem before where I'll have gold in solution, and then after I let it sit for a while, I don't have gold in solution anymore. So obviously the gold's got to be cementing out on something. If you think you know what it is, leave a comment. If you've seen this problem before, leave a comment. If you know what's causing this for sure, definitely leave a comment. Let me know. But I'm hoping if I can get the gold back in solution, and I just pour the liquid off, separate it from the solids, we can process the liquid, get some more gold, and not lose it again. So that's where I'm going with this. I think it's possible, since it's been a few years since I've seen this problem, it may be because I've gone back to my roots, and I'm not grinding up the material as finely as I usually do, and I'm not sieving out as much of the junk metal as I usually do. So, yeah, This problem kind of went away when I started using the ball mill and sieving out as much of the junk metal as possible. So, yeah. All right. So, well, I can't believe the reaction I'm getting. I put maybe 2 milliliters of nitric acid in there and just turned on the heat just now. I mean, it's barely warm. And look at the reaction. There's something in there. Some metal. Carbon, maybe? I don't know. Carbon can act like a metal sometimes in certain chemical reactions. I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, leave a comment if you know what's going on. But we're going to let this cook for a while, do another Stannis test on it, and see if the gold's back in solution. All right. In the meantime, I'm going to get set up to siphon off the bulk of the liquid on this stuff so we can start dealing with the gold in there. Although it looks pretty colloidal, I don't know what I want to do with it. I'll have to give it some thought. Oh, nothing's going right this morning. Holy cow. Will you just look at this crazy reaction I'm getting over here? You know, and I cooked this in nitric yesterday. This is just in the time it's taken me to set up to do siphoning. This has gone nuts over here. So, yeah, this just isn't behaving right. So, I'm going to let this calm down, and we'll do another stannous chloride test on it and see what that tells us. Let me get to siphoning. Okay, let's get this stuff siphoned. And before you ask, yes, I did do a stannous chloride test on it, and I don't see any, trace of gold, at least not detectable, left in it. But, it's going into my temporary stock pot. If there is any gold left in it, or if I suck up any of the super fine gold off the bottom, it can settle in here. I'm getting quite a layer in there. I'm going to have to process it soon. But yes, I have done a stannous chloride test on it, and I thought to myself, while I've got the spot plate and the stannous chloride out, why don't I test the stuff that's been sitting in the fume hood all night too? And I'm glad I did, otherwise I would have been sorely disappointed if I tried processing it. I didn't realize that there was no gold in it anymore. But, something told me I needed to test that just because it has not been acting right. Yeah, there's definitely something weird going on in that beaker. But if we can get that gold back in solution, I'm going to pour the solution off the solids. And deal with it that way. So, okay, you don't have to watch this whole siphoning operation. I'll give you a look at the gold in the bottom of the beaker once I'm done. Well, here's the gold. Doesn't look like too much. So I'm hoping I can get some more out of that stuff in the fume hood because, yeah, this really doesn't look like too much gold here. It's very fine. It's like colloidal. There's a film of it all over the inside of the beaker too. So really, there's not a whole lot I can do with this to clean it up. What I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'll wait until I get whatever gold precipitated out of what's left in the fume hood there. I'll add it in here. We'll redissolve it all in aqua regia and reprecipitate it. Hopefully it'll come out a little bit cleaner and more manageable. I would have liked to have gotten more liquid off of it than this because that liquid's, I'm sure, got something in it that's contaminating the gold and making it difficult to manage, but I was starting to suck up too much of the fine gold, so I had to stop siphoning. So, anyway, we'll see what we get from the stuff in the fume hood. Hopefully we'll get another significant amount of gold to add to this. Well, I'm just standing here waiting for this crazy reaction to die down. I mean, look at it. It's still going gangbusters. That's not boiling. It's not hot enough to boil. Let me show you the temperature. What we got in here. 63 C. So we're nowhere near boiling. We got some kind of weird reaction going on. I don't know what it is. For all that bubbling, though, the amount of orange fumes in the beaker, I mean, there's almost none. I mean, with the door open, I can kind of get a slight whiff of nitrogen dioxide. But really, I don't know what gas is being produced in there, but it is not primarily nitrogen dioxide. I don't know what's going on. So, yeah, there is some sort of reaction going on in there that is chewing up the nitric acid that I put in to try and get the gold back in solution. Now, carbon will react with nitric acid to produce carbon dioxide and nitrogen. So maybe we're getting some of that reaction. I don't know. Like I said earlier, leave a comment. Let me know what you think is going on in there, because I'm kind of at a loss. But I'm going to test this in a minute or two, and we'll see if we've got the gold back in solution. All right, let's do another stannous chloride test on this stuff and see if we've got any gold back in solution. It's still bubbling away over here. It's just like the Energizer Bunny. So I'm not sure. You know, everything would go wonky in the middle of a challenge. You know, it's not just a regular day of recovering gold here. It's a challenge, so. Aha. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, so I would say that our gold is back in solution. At least some gold in solution. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to decant this liquid off into another beaker. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put some more aqua regia on the solids in the bottom. And we'll see if we can extract any more gold. Because this might have been a problem we've been having from the get-go. Might have been why back in episode 1, when I went to denox this stuff, there was no excess nitric in it. And really, it doesn't look like I got very much gold over there in the bottom of that beaker. Because it's possible it's all staying in this beaker somehow. Down in the dregs on the bottom of it. Okay, so let me find another beaker and we'll dump that liquid off and we'll start yet another extraction. Keep this up until it looks like we're not getting any more gold. Okay, here we go. Let me dump this stuff off into this beaker over here. And we'll test this in a while. Maybe let it cool. And make sure the gold hasn't mysteriously disappeared out of it again. But in the meantime, whoo, nasty. Too much steam. Some of it was wafting out, which is not good. All right, but in the meantime, we're going to put some more aqua regia on this stuff and give it at least one more processing. Since it seems reluctant to give up the gold. And well, since this is a contest, I need every bit of gold out of it I can get. So, yeah. Wash this stuff down into the pool there. Everybody into the pool. Alright. Get some nitric acid in there. And we'll just let this cook again. Let's see if that crazy reaction comes back. I don't know what's going on in that beaker. It would be nice to know. Any of you chemists out there, figure out what's going on, leave me a comment. Alright, we're going to let this cook. We're going to let that cool. Yeah, look at it. There it goes again. It's had a chance to warm up a little bit. What in the wide world of sports is going on in that beaker? I don't know. We'll let this cook for a while. We'll give it a stannous test and see if we're getting any more gold out of it. This is just crazy. Absolutely crazy. All right, this has been cooking for a little while. Let's do a test on it. See if we got any gold back in solution again. I don't know. It's looking pretty weak this time. And kind of turbid. But we'll check it anyway here. And, well, look at that. We got some gold in solution there. So I think what I'm going to do is before the gold changes its mind and decides to come out of solution again, I'm going to dump off that liquid into this other beaker. But you know what? Before I do that, let's test this and make sure the gold is really still in solution in here. Now this looks much more reasonable. It's a darker yellow color. These doors closed. Keep fumes in. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, we still got gold in here, and we got gold in here. So I'm going to dump this liquid off in here. And why not? Why not a fourth extraction? As long as the gold keeps coming out. I mean, these look pretty equivalent in strength. I mean, it's not like this is super weak compared to that. So, yeah, keep getting the gold out. Hey, I'm in a contest here. I got to keep getting the gold. So I'm going to dump this liquid off, and we will start fourth extraction, I think. Yeah. Okay. All right. So here we go. Make aqua reach again. Maybe the fourth time's the charm. Get all that lovely gold out of there. Come on, get below the liquid level. There we are. Okay, let's get some nitric acid in there one more time. Hey, I can keep this up all day. As long as the gold keeps coming out, I can keep this up all day. All right. Why not? Okay, let it warm up and we'll see what happens. Well, it's like deja vu all over again. So, I'll even have some orange fumes this time. So, just going to let it cook a little while, do another stannous chloride test on it. I'll probably need to find a bigger beaker to pour this stuff off into. Yeah. Some kind of reaction going on in there. I hope it's producing more gold. So, just going to let it cook for now. Alright, it's been a little while. This reaction seems like it's dying down again. I have transferred the liquid. I've decanted off a couple of times into a bigger beaker so there's more room so I can put this liquid in. But let's test it, see if we're still getting gold or if we're just wasting our time over here. Doesn't look very yellow. Kind of muddy. But we'll see what we got here. Well, yeah, there's an indication. It's pretty weak, but there's an indication there. Okay, so this might be the last time, I'm thinking. I don't think it's worth chasing whatever's left in there. Okay, so I'm going to let this cool off a little bit, and I'm going to dump the liquid off into here. I'm going to rinse the remains in the bottom of this beaker with some distilled water and dump that over. And then we'll filter. Well, you know what? I need to denox that, actually. There's probably a lot of leftover nitric acid in there. So we'll dump this in there, we'll denox it. Then we'll uh, ice it, dilute it, and filter it. And then drop whatever gold it contains. So let me get to work on that. Okay, I have decanted the last batch of liquid over. Heat's off. Gotta rinse this stuff with some distilled water and pour this liquid off into here. A couple times. And then I'll be back and we'll denox this stuff over here. So let me get this rinsed a couple of times and transferred over, and then we'll get to denoxing. Alright, here we go with the denoxing. Saturated solution of sulfamic acid again, as usual. Oh, that is so weird. It is. No, we got some fizzing. Okay, there is some fizzing there. Okay. Starting to wonder if I've got a bad batch of sulfamic acid or what's going on here. But no, we got fizzing. It's fizzing like freshly poured soda. It's not getting ahead, but it's fizzing. So, okay, so there is some excess nitric in there. This stuff is neutralizing it. It's just not a violent reaction, which is okay. I'm good with it not being a violent reaction. Oh yeah, it's all fizzy. All right, good. All right, I gotta get some ice and ice that down because it's really hot. This is the last three extractions all in there, and then they went in fairly quick procession, so this is pretty warm. So I may actually let it cool on its own a little bit, then ice it. There's not a lot of room for ice. So let me let it cool a bit, and I'll get some ice. All right, so let's get some ice in here. This has had a chance to cool off some. And we'll let that melt, and we'll get set up to filter it, and we'll drop whatever amount of gold it has in it. Hopefully this drop will be a little less troublesome than the last one, and hopefully there'll be a decent amount of gold in it, because I'm not impressed with what I got for the first drop. So maybe the two of them together will add up to something. We'll see. All right, so just got to let that melt. Well, it's been a couple of days, and all I have managed to accomplish is to transfer the liquid from my four extractions, my four extra extractions, into a bigger beaker. Yeah, because with the liquid from those four extractions and the rinse water and the ice melting water, well, we needed a bigger beaker. So, but anyway, then it started raining and storming and horizontal rain and nastiness. And yesterday was a complete washout. And today it's rained all morning. And I'm coming out here quickly between rains to grab my camera equipment and take it in the house and do some filming in the house for one of my other channels. So check out my two other channels, Electric Geek 64 and Mike's Lapidarian Fossils. There's good stuff going on there because nothing's going on here until the weather improves, which may not be for a couple more days. So, yeah, I can't be working out here in horizontal rain and high winds and try and, filter this and drop the gold out of it. Something bad will happen. So, we're just going to let it sit. Hopefully the gold's not going to disappear again. I'm a little paranoid about that. We'll check it. We'll give it a stannous chloride test when I'm ready to continue working on it. But for now, it's just going to sit here and I am going to bolt for the house with the camera because I hear the rain starting to hit the roof over my head again. So I'll see you in a day or two. All right, we've had a break in the weather. Last couple of days, solid rain. Been nasty out here. But maybe this afternoon it's going to start again, but I got a few hours anyway. So let me get out here and get this stuff filtered. Now, just because I'm so paranoid about the gold disappearing again, I just did a stannous chloride test on it, and well, the gold's still in there. So, I'm happy about that. It hasn't decided to disappear again. I was worried because there's some sediment that I brought over when I was decanting that liquid off, and I'm like, well, whatever was making the gold cement out on, the stuff in that beaker, maybe I brought some over, but okay, this stuff's been sitting around for 2 days, 3 days now, and the gold is still there, so good. So let's get this stuff filtered, and then we can drop whatever gold it contains and combine it with what we got with the first gold drop. And then we can start trying to figure out exactly how much gold I got out of this stuff. Now, it's not the strongest indication of gold I've ever seen, but there's like 2.5 liters of liquid here almost. So even though it's actually fairly weak, I think hopefully we're going to make up an amount of gold from the volume. And it's much more yellow than last time. I'm liking that color. I hope that's showing up on the video. There's a lot less green. That's good. Now, I was saying earlier that I hoped this was going to be an easier gold drop than last time. I'm not going to get my hopes up there. I have a sneaking suspicion that this stuff is polluted with a lot of PGMs. Or as my stepson would say, oh, what a horrible problem to have. Your gold is polluted with platinum and palladium. Yeah, that is a horrible problem, isn't it? Well, not if you could separate them, I guess. But, yeah, so it may cause us some problems with dropping the gold. It may come out as colloidal again. And, of course, this is all about how much gold we get out of the chips. So a sizable percentage of what I get might not actually be gold. It might be PGMs. But it would take a lot of further refining to figure out exactly what percentage of gold and PGMs we got. Anyway, it's going to take me a while to filter all this liquid and wash all the color out of the filter and whatnot. So we'll be back when I'm done. I'll quit jawing at you. Alrighty, let's get some SMB in this stuff and get it dropping. It's getting really dark and the clouds are getting really thick again. So I think it's about to rain again. So we'll get this done and I can just hide in the house while the gold drops. Alright? And I certainly hope we make up in volume, but we're lacking in concentration with this stuff. It is certainly fairly weak, especially after adding all that rinse water just now to it. Alright, that is probably about enough SMB. Alright, put another spoonful in just for S's and G's. Though unless my eyes deceive me, I may be beginning to see a change in color. We will just let this sit and do its thing. And I'll clean up my mess. And if we get a color change before I have to bolt for the house when the rain starts, I'll show it to you. Although it definitely looks like it's darkening to me. Maybe not on camera, but to my eye, I would say it's definitely darkening up. There it goes. Yeah, it was just a little reluctant like last time. There's still some stuff in there. Like I said earlier, I imagine PGMs, maybe some other stuff too. But we are getting a drop. Good. We're getting a gold drop. Alrighty, so I thought that first gold drop was a little bit thin. So we'll see how much we get this time. So it's about to start raining. I'm headed for the house. Probably come out and look at this tomorrow. All right, the rain has stopped for the moment, but I don't think it's done for the day. The radar is pretty ugly, but I want to come out and check on this. The gold has settled a lot quicker than the first drop. There's a fair layer of it down there on the bottom, and it looks like better gold than the first drop. It's not as dark black colloidal as the last time, so this looks like better gold. Now, I'm looking at the liquid, which is quite yellow still. Even more yellow to the eye than it is on the camera viewfinder. And I'm thinking to myself, did I actually drop all the gold? Or is there still gold in there? So the natural thing to do, of course, is a stannous chloride test. Let me show you what the test looks like. I'll move the camera. Okay, so there's the stannous chloride test. That is not gold. There's no trace of purple. There's no black. It's orange. But there's also no green. So I'm thinking we got platinum in there. Some of those chips must have been really rich in platinum. I was thinking we had some PGM contamination in there, some pretty heavy PGM contamination. Yeah, that liquid looks like it's got a lot of platinum in it. So I was processing a lot of high-end server RAM through my rotisserie depopulator. So yeah, some of that high-end server RAM must have had a lot of platinum in it, I guess. That's the only thing I can think of. So, well, interesting problem to have, isn't it? I am tempted to take this liquid and set it aside and process it for platinum rather than dump it into my stock pot. But that would be a project for another video, not for this one. So, yeah, what to do, what to do. So, yeah, I guess there's a lot of platinum in there. This stuff down here on the bottom certainly looks like gold, but I'm sure it's contaminated with some platinum. But, well, at least I got some more gold. In fact, it looks like more gold than the first time around, which is good because the first gold drop was pathetic. I've still got it saved in a beaker up there. Once I get the liquid off this stuff, we'll combine it all, maybe redissolve it in a splash of aqua regia and reprecipitate it and try and get it a little bit cleaner. Is that first gold drop? That's some colloidal nastiness there. But this looks better, but still we've got a lot of platinum in here to deal with, I think. So, probably it looks like the weather's going south again. So maybe tomorrow morning, possibly tomorrow afternoon, I'll be able to come out and deal with this. But I think for now, I'm just going to leave it sit until the weather gets a little better. Plus, I have a scrap pickup I have to do tomorrow morning. That's right. Hopefully, it won't be raining on me for that. Okay, so we'll be back when the weather's a little better and I've got time to work on this. But at least we've got some more gold. All right, I'm happy about that. Okay. Like the old saying says, let's make hay while the sun shines. So I need to siphon all this liquid off of the gold in there. And, well, I've had a good long hard think about it, and I just can't make myself put it into my temporary stock pot. So I'm going to siphon it off into another beaker. And, I mean, the indication for platinum in there is just so strong, it looks like, that I'm thinking I really shouldn't throw this in the temporary stock pot. I know I'll get the platinum back eventually, but, well, maybe I'll just work on it now, you know? Not in this video, I mean, but in the future. I will probably concentrate this down to where it's a fraction of this volume. That'll make it easier to store until I can do something with it. And platinum prefers to come out of concentrated solutions, unlike gold, which prefers to come out of dilute solutions. So, you know, I've still got all the leftover chemicals that I bought for processing my stock pot a while back. I'll put a link to the stock pot videos in the upper right. I got some palladium out of that, as well as gold, and it looked like there was some platinum there too. So yeah, but this looks like it's pretty pure platinum. So might have a go at trying to get something out of it. We'll see how it looks once I concentrate it down. Anyway, I'm going to do the same thing I did earlier with the first batch of gold we dropped back in episode 1. I'm just going to finish siphoning this stuff off. I'll give you a look at the gold, and then we'll move on from there. Okay, here's the gold down here. And I'll tell you what, it looks like not only a whole lot more gold than we got last time around, it looks like much better gold. The color is sort of a brown with some brick red overtones there. It's not the black, nasty colloidal stuff we got the first time around. I'm kind of surprised it settled out so nice. But yeah, that's some good looking gold, and it looks like there's a fair amount there. So I'm happy about that. Over here with some more rinse water, we got like better part of 3 liters of liquid, which looks like it's got a lot of platinum in it. So I will set this aside until I can start concentrating it. I'll just put it on the heat and evaporate the liquid down and concentrate it, and then store it in something. I've got several containers I can store it in until I can get around to processing it and trying to get the platinum out of it. So I think we're getting a twofer here. We're getting gold and we're getting platinum. So cool. Even if I don't win the gold contest, I'm getting platinum too. Great. All right, so I've got the beaker with our first gold precipitation in it. This looks like some pretty nasty, dirty colloidal stuff, and there's not much there at all. And then I've got this stuff here. Now this beaker, the first beaker, also has a lot of gold precipitated around the inside of it. So I'm just going to add this stuff to this one down here, because this stuff settled out nice. It doesn't look like there's a lot of it on the inside of the beaker. So we'll just combine these together all in the first beaker. Yeah. Okay. And what I'll do is I'll put this back in the fume hood, and we'll make a little aqua regia in this beaker. We'll redissolve all the gold, filter it, and reprecipitate it. And then we'll clean up the reprecipitated gold. It should come out, hopefully, a little nicer than the first precipitation did, maybe even nicer than the second one. And it'll be easier to handle, I'm hoping, and we can dry it out and get a weight on it. All right, so let me get this in the fume hood and we'll get started. All right, our gold is back in the fume hood. It can hang out over here next to our platinum solution, which I've just turned the heat on so we can start reducing it. Yeah, I need to reduce it to about 1/5 or less that amount, I'm sure. Make it a lot easier to store. All right, so let's make some aqua regia over here in this beaker. Got a little bit of water in it, so it'll be weak aqua regia, but that's okay. Try not to block the camera here. There we go. That should be enough. Gold we're trying to dissolve here, and gold dissolves pretty darn quickly in aqua regia, even if it's weak. Especially if it's warm. So I'll turn the heat on the gold stuff here too. And in with, there's about 2.5 milliliters of nitric acid. And I'm going to put in about another milliliter for now. That may be all it takes. We'll see. I can always add more. As the aqua regia gets warm, the fume should attack all of the gold stuck to the inside of the beaker, and that will run down into the main pool there. So we should get all the gold out of this beaker. So okay, we'll just let this warm up and let the aqua regia do its magic. Well, my goodness, that gold's going into solution quick. I walked away for a few minutes to do something else, and I'd say, 3/4 of it's already in solution. It's just a little pile in the center. So we'll just let it continue to cook. It's on fairly low heat, but we'll just let it continue to cook. If that stuff in there doesn't disappear fairly soon, I'll add a little bit more nitric acid to it. A few drops, probably be all it takes to get it into solution. But it might go. I'm just going to leave it for now and let it go. Well, it's been a little while longer, and almost everything has gone into solution. We just got a little bit of stuff in the bottom. It looks like gold, but it may not be. We'll see. I'm going to put just a little bit more nitric acid in there. Not very much. Not very much at all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drops, say. And we'll see if that stuff starts reacting and going into solution. If it's gold, that's probably enough acid to get that little bit of material in solution. If it's not gold, if it's platinum, iridium, osmium, or just general crud, then, well, I'm not going to try too hard to get it in solution. So if that little bit of nitric acid doesn't do the trick, we'll just filter it out when we filter this stuff, and we'll leave it with my filters for when I process them, just in case there is some precious metal there. But yeah, I'm not going to hit it too hard and try to get it in solution, because if it's gold, it should go in solution pretty easy. If it's not gold, well, it'll just sit there. I'm not going to turn the heat up. I'm not going to hit it with a lot of nitric. Yeah, this should definitely dissolve any gold that's there. And anything that's not gold, the other PGM metals except for palladium are reluctant to dissolve in aqua regia. And if it's just general crud, I don't want it in my gold either. So, okay, so we'll just let it sit for a little while and see what happens. All right, that stuff, whatever it is, doesn't seem to be dissolving. So we'll just filter it out. Don't really want it in the gold, whatever it is. Okay, so we're going to denox this. My usual saturated solution of sulfamic acid here. Oh yeah, there's some fizzing. Alright. Oh yeah, fizzing. I knew there would be some excess nitric acid. There pretty much had to be. Yeah. Alright. And I'll wash the rest of this sulfamic acid in, and that will ensure that we are thoroughly denoxed. Alright. Good. I turned the heat off on this a while ago when I saw that stuff wasn't dissolving, so this is starting to cool already, but we will help it along with some ice. And now once it all melts, we'll filter it, and we'll drop the gold again, and hopefully we'll get some cleaner gold this time. So, be back when that's all melted. Alright, the ice has melted, so let's get this stuff filtered. There's not a lot of sediment in it, so I'm thinking we can just gravity filter it pretty quickly. Not bother getting out the whole vacuum filtration setup. Yeah, that's going through nice and quick. Okay. So it'll take me a little while to filter this stuff. Be back when it's done, and we're ready to drop the gold again. Alrighty. Let's get this gold dropped. This stuff is heating up. It's starting to bubble a little bit, so that's good. Start evaporating that down. That may become the subject of another video. We'll see. But, some SMB in this stuff. Hopefully we'll get a nice clean gold drop. Without drama would be nice. Oh, the color's fading. That's good. A little bit more in. Just for safety's sake. Oh yeah. Look at that. Boom! Perfect. Even caught it on camera. Textbook. Alright. So we'll let that drop and settle, and we'll see what we get out of it. I'll probably let it sit overnight because it's Saturday night. It's getting towards sunset. Wife and I are going to have date night tonight, so I got to go get cleaned up for that. So we'll just let this sit till tomorrow and deal with it then. Well, it's the next morning, and wow, look at that. A nice little layer of gold down there. Nice clear liquid. I think we got a good gold drop, and it looks like, well, maybe a decent amount. We'll see. This stuff's been on low heat all night, and well, it's almost evaporated down by half, not quite. And the color is getting much more intense. So, well, everything's just coming up roses today. So I think what I will do is decant this liquid off into my temporary stock pot. I'll get the gold into a smaller beaker. We'll give it a few boils to clean it up, then dry it out and weigh it. So that's what I'm going to get started on. So here we go. I transferred the gold to a smaller beaker after decanting off the liquid, and we're going to give it some boils to clean it up. Then we'll dry it out and get a weight and see how we do compared to Silverstoll. So this has just got to come up to a boil. So this is the last cleanup boiling process. Let me pull this off. Let it calm down a little bit. I'll decant off that liquid. We'll start drying out the gold so we can weigh it. Okay, we're drying it out. Once it's dry, we'll weigh it. Now, I'm not expecting to get a lot of gold out of this. So don't get your hopes up either. In the past, using the exact same techniques I've shown you in this video, I have managed to get about a gram, maybe 1.1 grams, out of a pound of random BGA RAM chips in the past. So, since we're only doing 238 grams here, I'm expecting at most half a gram, maybe a little over. So, should be enough to weigh, but it's not going to be a lot of gold. All right, this is the big moment. Let's see how much gold we've got here. I got to tell you, it's still pretty fine. Oh, and it's sticking to the inside of the beaker pretty bad, too. Yeah. I think it's still contaminated with something. I mean, certainly we have some PGMs here. Platinum, maybe some other stuff. Might still be a little bit of tin in here, too. Might be following the gold through this. Tin, it doesn't take very much tin to really screw up gold. Make it behave badly. Yeah, there's a lot of fine stuff on the side of the beaker, but I don't think that's really going to affect our weight. Let's see what we got here. Huh, what do you know? Right about half a gram, which is close to what I was expecting. Maybe a little more. But you know what? There is some on the inside of the filter that I was using for... I would run the boil water through it to catch any fine gold that came off. I'll show you that real quick. Yeah, there's some fine gold in this filter that I drained the boiling water through. Looks like a lot, but I'm sure it won't amount to much. It's pretty fine. I'm not even sure that's enough to move the scale. And there's a little bit still inside this beaker. It's stuck in there. Wow, what in the world? That is cooked on. Huh. Yeah, I would say this gold is definitely still contaminated with something for it to be so sticky and so fine. But there we go. We'll call it half a gram. We won't worry about the stuff in the filter. We won't worry about the stuff in the beaker. So I got half a gram of gold. Exactly, somehow, half a gram of gold out of my 238, well, technically 240, according to my scale, grams of VGA RAM chips. So that's about what I was expecting. I was not expecting to get so much platinum out of it. So I have to think about what to do with that. So what to do with this stuff? Well, considering the small amount of gold I got, about half a gram, I figure the amount of platinum in here is a fraction of that. So I really don't think it's worth attempting to go after. I'm going to continue concentrating this liquid just so it doesn't take up a whole lot of room in my stock pot. But I think I am going to put it in the stock pot and just wait until the next time I process my stock pot and see if I can get the platinum out of it then. Because I had platinum the last time I processed it, and I just put that back in the stock pot to concentrate it too, because it didn't seem like enough to go after. I got a little bit of palladium, got some gold, but decided the platinum wasn't enough to try and bother with. So, yeah, I'll just let this continue to evaporate for a little while, then dump it in the stock pot. So, anyway, that's what I'm planning on doing, and as it's concentrating, something's coming out of solution. We've got some clear crystals growing on the surface of it, and some have sunk to the bottom. So, not sure what those are. They could just be common table salt from the use of SMB in this to precipitate the gold. One of the byproducts is salt. So that's what that could be. All right, let's go back to the scale. Well, Silverstoll, we'll see what you get. May the best man win. It's been fun. Oh, it's ticked up to 0.52, but I don't believe that. I think just air currents have done that. We'll stick with 0.5, all right? I hope you folks found this series of videos interesting, educational, informative, whatever. Give it a like, give it a thumbs up, and go visit Silverstoll and give him a like, a thumb up, and subscribe over there too. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks a lot for watching this one, and thanks a lot for the challenge, Silverstoll. It was fun. Bye.